Yo, what's happening, everybody? It's your boy, Earth Mac, the mad scientist, and this is Pro Wrestling Talk live on this Tuesday evening. I hope you guys had an awesome Tuesday. We are 2 days into the work week, ladies and gentlemen, and we almost halfway through it. Almost halfway through it. Tomorrow is Hump Day. As you know, for the wrestling fans out there, AEW Dynamite is tomorrow night on TBS. Tonight is NXT. So NXT fans, go ahead and check that out. I think it come on at 8 p.m. Yesterday, myself and Vivo, we had our anime breakdown yesterday when it comes to Ninja Kamui and Solo Leveling. And Solo Leveling is one episode away from having a season finale. So we thought upon ourselves, like I said yesterday on the show, that we need to leave it up to the people. We need to leave it up to the Geek Corner. So to the Geek Corner, we chose 4 different anime for you to vote on, and whoever wins this vote, that will be the next anime we will cover every Monday along with Ninja Kamui. And then when Ninja Kamui ends, which it will end pretty soon, we're going to pull up another poll. So if your anime don't make the cut, even though you vote for it, now it's not too late to vote for it. Now you can go into our YouTube community, you can go ahead and vote like that, or you can go into our Geek Corner on our Facebook page and vote that way. So it's not too late, man. You got until next week to vote for that. So I'm going to give you a little bit of results so far in the past 24 hours on what's been going on. Now, the 4 anime in question is Brave Bang Bravern, Frieren Beyond Journey's End, Sin Duality Noir, and The Witch and the Beast. And so far, 55 people have voted on our community page, and 60% is in Brave Bang Bravern, is currently in first place, at 60%. In second place is Sin Duality Noir with 27%. And Frieren Beyond Journey's End is at 11% in third place. And in fourth place, The Witch and the Beast at 2%. Now, if I go to my our Facebook community page, so far we only had one person voted for that community page, and that is Frieren. So add that to the list. So it's not too late to vote, ladies and gentlemen. So those are the 4 anime that's in question. Will be the next one we actually cover. So if the other 3 don't make the cut, guess what? We're going to put it in another vote for you guys, the Geek Corner, to vote on. And we're going to add a 4th anime in there too. So we're going to sprinkle a little bit in there. So it's not too late to vote. Just go ahead and vote. Your voices will be heard. So we won't choose that. You will choose that for us. And then we will cover it per episode, just like we did Solo Leveling and Ninja Kamui. Now, for today, we got our pro wrestling talk, man. Yesterday was Monday Night Raw, and Cody Rhodes, man, stayed taking L's. He stayed taking L's, man. I don't understand. Man. The final boss gets another dub over Cody. And now, Cody did come out. You know, he cut a promo, which honestly and truly, his promo was better than the promo he had with Roman Reigns the Friday night prior, which is odd because it didn't hit. That promo with Roman Reigns didn't hit for some other reason. It didn't connect with me, but this one, he cut the promo by himself, and The Rock comes out to the crowd, and Rock doesn't say a word. They just stare at each other, and it made me flash back to WrestleMania 18, where Rock was facing Hogan, and Rock and Hogan was facing each other, and it did not move. They did not do no move sets or nothing. It just stared at each other and let the crowd just get into the match and get invested. And when you have something like that, you don't have to do a whole lot of moves. You don't have to do a whole lot in the match to make the match memorable, right? So with The Rock and Cody facing each other, Rock leans over to Cody, whispers something in the ear. We don't know what it is. And people trying to find out throughout the night what Rock said to you, Cody. And Cody said, I dare not repeat it, but I promise you he will not keep his promise, whatever that was. So, which is really no secret, honestly, because, he was on social media, talking about, hey, I'm going to beat your son's ass, Cody's mom, I'm going to beat your son's ass, and I'm going to put his blood on my weight belt, and I'm going to give it to you at WrestleMania. And then at the end of the show, he did exactly that. And I think the atmosphere in the environment on when this took place, it took place in the rain. You know what I'm saying? Like the scene could not be picked any better. Cody got his ass whipped in the rain, got his head beat up against the bus, and then of course, wisely, Rock goes onto the camera, start talking his trash, and you notice there's a little bit more profanity is being used in the Raw segments. I mean, he dropped the F-bomb in there, and I feel like the censors couldn't hit that bleep button fast enough. And then you finally see something that we haven't seen in a long time that has been done on purpose, and that is Cody is bleeding. They actually showed blood on television. Now, this is the first time like blood was on TV on purpose, not on accident, but on purpose in like the past 10 years. And I might be highballing when I say that, but since the PG era, you really haven't been getting any blood. Like, that's just what it was. And I mean, when you deal with the PG era, you got to appease shareholders, and it's a publicly traded company, and you're trying to maintain this level of the demographic you're trying to appeal to, which is the children. And the children is forever, it's perpetual. Children are going to always be there. So if the children is there right now, they're going to grow up to be adults, and then they're going to take their kids to a WWE show, and it's a revolving thing. And I think that's what they're trying to cater to. And for the fan base that's thinking that they're going to move forward with TV 14 content, you can guess again with that. This is WrestleMania season. They are pulling out every single stop for this storyline to pull through. Because, I mean, to be honest with you, with this story, they're making chicken salad out of chicken shit. That's basically what they're doing. I mean, with Punk being injured and the whole situation with Vince McMahon and the whole thing with Brock Lesnar, and Rock being either the third or fourth seat on the TKO board of directors, he took it upon himself, said, hey, I'm going to face Roman at WrestleMania, and this is going to be something that we want to see. And to be 100% honest with you, yes, we do want to see that. We do want to see Rock versus Roman, because there's been teasers. There's been like 1.5 to 2 year teasers about Rock and Roman facing each other at a WrestleMania or a major event. Now, but don't do it at the expense of Cody. This is like I was saying last week. You don't do it at the expense of Cody. And then the fan base was very, very vocal. When it comes to the wrestling fan base, if it was any other pay-per-view, if it was like Backlash or something like that, WWE wouldn't have given a damn. They wouldn't have cared what your thought process was when it comes to Rock versus Roman. They just wouldn't have cared. You're going to pay to see the show. That's what we're going to do. But when it comes to WrestleMania, they cannot afford to have bad press for a WrestleMania event, because that is their biggest event. That is their money maker. You're trying to make as much money as you possibly can. And they pivoted. And they went back to Cody versus Roman. So here's the thing when it comes to the storyline with The Rock. The Rock is really the top of the mountain when it comes to this storyline. Like, the moment he stepped through that curtain, the shine got taken away from Roman and Cody just by proxy. That's just what it is. Like, if you put Rock and Roman side by side, Roman looks like the little brother. Now, he looks like, hey, go fight my battles for me. I'm the tribal chief. Like, now it makes Roman look less than just a little bit. And I think, and WWE is really, really good at doing this. They're really good at like spinning things. But as a smart fan, you got to pay attention. You really have to pay attention to what's going on here. You could easily turn that around and say, hey, fans are fickle, or whatever the case would be. But in this instance, fans aren't really fickle. We just, like, fan base is really upset at how this Cody Roman match is being pushed, because in all honesty, that should be at the forefront, because he holds the most important title in that company. And Rock has proven that he's bigger than all of that because of what happened. Like, if you look at that storyline between Cody and Rock, and what Rock is doing with Cody, like, Cody has been taking consistent L's, like consistent L's. Like, it's difficult to see what upper hand Cody has gotten. Like, maybe he'll get the upper hand like the last week, but so far from the moment Rock stepped foot in the WWE ring, Cody was less than. Cody was number 2 or 3, depends on how you look at it. And then when you have Cody and Roman, you know, the excitement around that match being the main event for night 2. I mean, you can't honestly say you just as excited for that match this year as you were last year, because they have to me, they have to work around Roman and Cody a lot more than what they're doing. Because when it's all said and done, when WrestleMania is over with, Rock might be out of here. Like, he might be going back to Hollywood. Yes, he's on the board of directors, and yes, he owns these different companies and this, that, and the third. But you got to look at the long term. And then, but I understand the financials of WrestleMania. Like, again, you're trying to make as much money as you possibly can. You might have Stone Cold Steve Austin show up. I mean, which would be awesome to see, because that's a moment. Because as a fan base, you probably forget about all that extra shit. And, you know, again, that's what WWE is good at. They make you forget about certain things. You know, Stone Cold Steve Austin might come in, because we already know that Austin is Rock's nemesis. We grew up on Attitude Era and everything else in between. Rock has his own, you know, writing team. He has his own team. So if the locker room is upset about something, about different liberties that Rock's taking, or rules that's been set for the talent in the WWE locker room, I mean, they have right to be upset. Now, which goes back to last night, because CM Punk shows up, and, you know, he dropped some profanity here and there, and the whole Seth, Drew, Punk situation. I believe Drew McIntyre is going to beat Seth Rollins for that World Heavyweight Championship. Like, I feel like that's just going to happen. I think Seth done it as much as he could with that World Heavyweight Championship. He has defended it with honor. He's defended it, you know, left and right. It's been the workhorse championship. He's definitely done his thing when it comes to that. Now, when CM Punk recovers, CM Punk is very smart in his wordplay, because he tagged everybody. He tagged Rock, he tagged Roman, he tagged Seth, and he tagged Drew. So he literally laid out the roadmap on what he's planning on doing throughout his career by the end of his contract. Like, the people he's going to face, the feuds that he's going to be in, he laid down the foundation on who he's going to face and whatever. Now, who he's going to face first, that remains to be seen. I mean, my guess is Drew McIntyre. That's going to be the first person he faces. And then he works his way, you know, up the ladder, and, you know, finally meeting Roman, or one day meeting The Rock once again, if Rock's willing to do another match. It depends. So I understand the groundwork. Punk has a stroke of bad luck when it comes to injuries. Anytime, like, if you go back to AEW time, when he was a AEW World Heavyweight Champion, caught an injury, and he was supposed to have a lengthy title reign, and then he came back, and guess what? Damn, got another injury, and then fast forward, you go to WWE. He's supposed to be the one to face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. That was supposed to be your night 1 main event, but again, they had to pivot because of the injuries. And guess what happened? You know, CM Punk got injured, you know, once again. And it's just been a stroke of bad luck. And I feel like all athletes really go through that at one point or another, just a stroke of bad luck. Hopefully when CM Punk comes back, he remains healthy and he able to continue to do the feuds that he's doing. There's no doubt in my mind that WrestleMania 40 will make all the money. They will make whatever their goal they set with themselves, they're going to achieve that goal. Like, Philly is going to be sold out. Now, next year's WrestleMania, that is up in the air, because if it's in Minnesota, it's gonna be a bitch of a time. Because if you haven't been following the news, you know, the rideshare drivers like Lyft, Uber, they're looking to pull away from Minneapolis. They're looking to pull away. So imagine if WrestleMania is at Minnesota next year and you have no Uber, you have no Lyft, you only got like taxi, which is going to charge you an arm and a leg and a kidney and 2 toes. Like, it's going to be a heck of a time. Like, I don't think WrestleMania is going to be in Minnesota based off of what's going on over there right now. But my predictions for night 1 of WrestleMania, you know, you got Cody and Seth versus Rock and Roman. I feel like, in my gut, I feel like Cody and Seth is going to get this dub, but not like a clean dub. I think like something's going to happen where that might cause a little tension between Rock and Roman, which carries that story even further. And then you got night 2 of WrestleMania, which honestly and truly is 50-50 right now with Cody and Roman. Like, I think they're strategically making us not really care about that main event. So if Cody does lose, it's like, all right, he lost again. It's whatever. People won't be as pissed as they were the year prior. Maybe they're strategically doing that because The Rock is really overshadowing this Rock and Cody feud. Like, you got to really look at the meat and potatoes of that. We see what happens on Friday. We see what happens on Monday, you know, over the next couple weeks leading up to WrestleMania, but they have to do something. Like, Cody has to get the upper hand. Like, I mean, I get it, what they're trying to do here, because as Rock was beating Cody's ass, he was talking about hard times. He's like, listen, your dad don't know about hard times, but you're going to know about hard times. I mean, in all honesty, if you really look at that storyline, it looks like hard times. Like, he's been consistently taking L's every single week. And Rock and Roman is look like they can't be touched at this point, and everybody else looking soft. I mean, you got to have some kind of balance there, but I get where they're coming from with that, and maybe, just maybe, Cody comes out with this dub. Maybe. But I'm not 100% on that. I'm not 100% on that. Now you got Jimmy and Jey Uso that's going to face each other night 1 of WrestleMania. I feel like Jay's going to go over on Jimmy, but that's something that they really wanted to do. That's one of their dreams, for them to face each other at a WrestleMania. And what better place than WrestleMania 40? I mean, to be completely honest, The Rock's mom, Ada, I feel like she should be inducted into the Hall of Fame. If you really look at that, you got Rock, you got Roman, you got the Usos, you got, you know, Solo Sikoa. The whole family is there. The whole entire family is there. So why not induct Ada into the Hall of Fame? Because she deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, it's only right. It's fitting for her to be there, because you have all the Samoan brothers there. Well, for the most part, there, and hey, let them get it done to the Hall of Fame. Even though people are butting heads, you know, it is what it is. But I think with The Rock, when he first showed up and he cut his promo in that the silk vest and everything, I cringed a little bit. I was like, you know, attitude promos in the PG era just looks real cringy. It looks real cringy. Now, I in this light, I never seen Rock so violent like he was last night, because it didn't fit well with his character back in the Attitude Era, right? Of course, he used to beat people ass and stuff like that, but he's doing it in a theatrical way. But to do it in an amount of brutality that was shown with the Raw segment in the rain, I've never seen that. So that kind of made people pay attention. You know, he dropped some cuss words here and there. He dropped the F-bomb in there. Like, it was thoroughly surprising to the audience. And, you know, you got him. You don't really have to do a whole lot. But again, I feel like Cody needs to get the upper hand just a little bit, like to even the playing field. And a lot of people ask the question, where was Seth in this whole situation? I mean, Seth got his own issues. He got Drew McIntyre like behind him. Like, he can't concentrate. He got a title to defend. Cody don't have a title. He's searching for that title. He wants to get that title. But Seth already got his, and he's trying to defend his. Yeah, I'll be your shield, but let me handle this shit over here. So But if you're looking for a TV 14 Monday Night Raw, if you're looking for an Attitude Era type Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown, it's not happening. I mean, there's some liberties that's being taken leading up to WrestleMania because you're trying to engage as much audience and grab as much audience as you can so everybody can tune in and watch the pay-per-view for WrestleMania. Like, you want it to be the biggest thing possible. And in order for you to do that, you got to advertise. Like, just like Roman being on Pat McAfee show. And that's all this is. It's like a big advertising. And I'm not mad at it. I am not mad at it. Once WrestleMania is over with, you start back over from scratch and, everything starts over. The person that everybody should be paying attention to, though, is Braun Breaker. Everybody should be paying attention to that individual. Fresh out of NXT, he's going to be on the main roster, as well as Carmelo Hayes. You definitely need to watch those two individuals on that main roster. And the way they're putting those video vignettes together about Braun Breaker, this dude will be a top guy. No question. He is a Steiner. And I know what thing to do about Steiners. The Rick and Scott Steiner, the Steiner brothers. Listen, man, he came from good stock. That's all I'm going to tell you. He came from good stock when it comes to athleticism. And he's a mixture of his dad. He's a mixture of Scott. He blended in with both of them, man. I mean, it's a perfect blend. He has like the intensity and the speed, the power. He has all those things rolling in one. Another person that I'm high on that I wish they would have went with when it came to WrestleMania is Chad Gable. Like, WWE, how you not seeing this man as the second coming of Kurt Angle? Even though you don't want to have another Kurt Angle, like, Chad has his own personality, of course, but the level of athleticism and personality this man has shown over the years, like, you got to put a title on this man eventually, man. Come on. And WWE is definitely high on making sure everyone possible can be on WrestleMania. Like, they can have their WrestleMania moment. They don't have to be the main event, but just be involved with WrestleMania to a certain capacity. And with that, it's a double-edged sword. On one end, the locker room is happy because they got the WrestleMania moment. They didn't have to do that, but you did it for me. On the other end, you may be doing it at the expense of someone that rightfully deserved to be there or rightfully deserves to be in the match. That said match. The other person I come into question is The Miz and R-Truth. I feel like The Miz and R-Truth should be in a tag match, across from the champions and no one else. Like, no other tag teams. It should just be those two tag teams. Judgment Day, Miz, R-Truth. If you want to make it a ladder match, make it a ladder match. Do what you got to do on that aspect. But as far as like a tag team turmoil, nah, you missed me with that. Because the story was right there. Everybody saw the story. The story was developing. We knew what this was. And I know you threw us a curveball, and I know you're trying to include everybody, but, I know if I was the booker, it'd just be Judgment Day, Miz, R-Truth. Put a stipulation on there, ladder match, or whatever the case may be. But now, as far as the Intercontinental title match, I do not see Sami Zayn beating Gunther. Nah, I really don't see that happening. I think it's just another stepping stone for Gunther on his path to being the being one of the longest reigning Intercontinental champions of all time. I think he's already the longest reigning Intercontinental champion of all time, and on his path to be a world heavyweight champion. And when he becomes the world heavyweight champion, he's gonna have a very lengthy title run. And maybe I just had this thought in my head. Maybe that's what they're waiting on. Maybe Chad Gable is going to win the World Heavyweight Championship and beat Gunther for that. Or maybe Dragunov, because Dragunov is definitely another person that has Gunther's number. So, just saying, only time will tell. But Gunther is definitely one of the best, if not the best, Intercontinental champion in recent memory. And he's on his way to be World Heavyweight Champion. Now, I see it coming. I'm not sure when, but when it does happen, he's going to have a lengthy title run. Like, no question about that. As far as him losing to Sami Zayn, that's not happening. I don't see that happening. If that do happen, that is a huge curveball. That is a huge curveball. I just wish they put Chad Gable in the mix. But, it is what it is. Now, in other news, Tony Khan hires someone new. Now, this news just came across my desk. Now, I will definitely tell you, this is something that AEW really didn't need. I'm going to be honest with you. And the person in question is Kosha Irby as Chief Operating Officer. Now, it says March 26, 2024, Tony Khan today announced Kosha Irby has officially joined All Elite Wrestling as Chief Operating Officer. Irby will oversee all strategic planning and execution of live events, marketing, finance, human resources, licensing, consumer products, and other major lines of business for the company. He joins AEW from Clemson University, where he served as Chief Marketing Officer within the athletic department and has previously held positions with the Memphis Express of the Alliance of American Football as Chief Marketing Officer, Professional Bull Riders PBR as President, and WWE as Regional Director of Live Events. So it says that Kosha brings decades of experience within the sports, entertainment, and wrestling industries alongside an incredible work ethic and a passion for our brand. As Chief Operating Officer, he will be a phenomenal asset to AEW as we enter the next phase of company's ongoing business development and expansion. Now, through the AEW fandom, I think this is a huge plus. Like, any additions to the back office is good. Anything that takes more off of TK's plate is a plus. I think he's been taking on a lot of things on his own. I think, him loosening the reins and just like handling some operations to other people. That's great. In 2024, things have been changing. Things have been evolving with AEW, and they changed the stage set, and they changed the intro music, and the camera angles look a little different. One thing I did notice last week is that Renee Paquette was doing she was doing a broadcast, she was doing commentary as someone was coming out in the intro music, almost like UFC like, and it had that sports like feel to it. So I do get the vision that they have. Now, as far as the ranking system goes, I know they mentioned the ranking system. They put up a screen like who got the wins and losses, who's the number 1 ranked, number 5 ranked, blah 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 blah. They did that once. I haven't heard much of it since. Since Mercedes Moné, since Okada, since Will Ospreay. But I've heard, wrestlers talk about the ranking system, like your win and loss record and stuff like that. So I'm not sure that they're quietly doing away with that. I wish they would, because when they reintroduced it, it wasn't what I thought it was. Because in the beginning, there was different rankings for different titles. But now there's a ranking for each, for that said title plus other titles there. So if you're ranked number 1 through 5, you can either challenge for the World Championship, the International Championship, the TNT Championship, and if you're a tag team championship, and so on and so forth. But I wish they would have separated the rankings, and I understand how convoluted that could be, and you don't have time to do that. One thing that is a winning formula for the WWE, and it was like, oh well, WWE tells stories and they have long-term booking and long-term storytelling. I'm gonna tell you why they got long-term booking and long-term storytelling. They have a pay-per-view every single month. They used to have pay-per-views for they have 12 months, 12 pay-per-views, which means in between these pay-per-views, you are building a story. You are forcibly building a story that leads up to that pay-per-view to make people buy that pay-per-view, or well, if you got Peacock, go subscribe to the pay-per-view and watch it. That's where it's at. AEW, like that critique with AEW, I get that critique because there's some things that's like, you put a lot of dream matches together, and in the beginning that was cool because you were putting dream matches together. You see classic matches, but what led up to those matches? What led up to this? Because I knew that wasn't a perpetual winning formula. I knew at some point they're going to have to like dial it back a little bit and start telling stories to get people more invested. Because of course we want to see Will Ospreay and Swerve go up against each other, right? But we don't want to see it on a random Wednesday with no context. You know, of course we want to watch it, right? But it would have been 10 times better if there was some context behind it. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, Okada versus Swerve. I keep using Swerve in that because he's like one of the hottest wrestlers around when it comes to, you know, performance in the ring and everything else in between. So even with Mercedes Moné, okay, you got yourself something. Have you noticed that the count for the AEW pay-per-views has increased? And it's not, at one point, I think it was like maybe 4 pay-per-views a year. So if you got 4 pay-per-views a year, right? You got a lot of space between these pay-per-views. Like, if I know the next pay-per-view was in like 2, maybe 3 months, how can I keep you interested in these 2 individuals with each other for 3 whole months without having a single match? It's not impossible, but it's improbable. Like, you're going to have to finish to a certain degree. Like, you know, you don't have the pencil, but the more pay-per-views you have, the easier it is to tell a story between 2 individuals or 4 individuals or 2 different groups or whatever, because you got a pay-per-view to sell. So you can easily tell a story then. That's been the winning formula for WWE. They had a whole slew of pay-per-views. Some of them you didn't give a damn about, but still yet, there were stories being built for those said characters to the point where, hey, I got to go watch this pay-per-view because it comes on. And then you already know another pay-per-view is coming in next month, right? That means you're going to have maybe an ongoing story. That's why they're able to have like maybe 2 or 3 match feuds, because you got all these pay-per-views coming right behind each other, adding stipulations and whatnot. So you got those situations. So it, you know, I would say, you know, AEW hasn't been around for 40 years. It's been around for like single digit years, like 4 to 5 years. So I think, you know, a little bit of slack need to be cut out here. But now the more pay-per-views are showing, that's no longer an excuse now. Now you're going to have to tell these stories. Now you got to see what's going on. You know, Samoa Joe's doing a phenomenal job in leading the charge for AEW as the World Heavyweight Champion. I feel like you should put this man on TV a whole lot more, not AEW television, but on regular TV, on news outlets, or whatever the case may be. Like, expose AEW. Mercedes Moné can literally turn the tide single-handedly. She has millions of followers. And when she first showed up, she did pull 1 million views. She did pull a million views on her debut. And you could literally put her in front of any camera. Good Morning America, ESPN, First Take, whatever. You can put her on the forefront and have her advertise All Elite Wrestling to bring more people to All Elite Wrestling. Simple. You ain't got to do that much. You don't have to do anything. Hell, you could put Samoa Joe. You could put Mercedes Moné there. And Tony Storm. So Tony Storm is the AEW Women's Heavyweight Champion. So, I mean, obviously she could be thoroughly entertaining on national television. So, it's just a thought. And that again, that has been WWE's winning formula when it comes to telling stories. That's why this Bloodline storyline has been going as long as it has. Like, this thing, from the humble beginnings and to now what we're seeing now. You know, people within the Bloodline facing each other. Like, the story can be told because there's pay-per-views that, you know, that's in between them, and you have big moments, significant moments in those pay-per-views. Yes, you still was tuning in every single week, but you was watching the story keep progressing and going on and on and on, and then ultimately you get your end cap, you know, with your pay-per-view. And I think this is the formula AEW is using somewhat, because they still have the Attitude-esque feel to it. It just, you know, the amount of hardcore matches that was there on AEW is not as much. When it do happens, I think they dialed that back just a little bit, because those type of matches were happening very frequent, to the point where, you know, we got another match like this, who cares? But I think they spacing that stuff out now to make us care more about that. But again, like I said in the beginning, WrestleMania is definitely going to be a successful WrestleMania. I feel like this probably going to be the most pro wrestling centric WrestleMania in a very long time. I think it's going to be less sports entertainment like, and just going to be focused more on the professional wrestling aspect of it. So, but as far as The Rock goes and that bleeding, do not get used to that. You do not get used to the bleeding every single week. don't get used to that. It's still PG WWE. It's still that. Just enjoy it while it lasts. That's all I can tell you. But yeah, that is our show for today. Feel free, go ahead and follow our Geek Corner page. Go ahead and follow us. And do not forget to vote, okay? Do not forget to vote on the next anime you want us to talk about. Breaking down episode by episode by episode. And so far, Brave Bang Braver is number one. Again, I'm going to give you the results of that. Current results, okay? Let me give you the current results of that. So, which anime you want us to cover once Solo Leveling ends? So far, at 61%, Brave Bang Bravern, the latest mecha anime, is sitting at number one. Number two is Sin Duality Noir with 27%. Number three is Frieren Beyond Journey's End at 11%. And last is The Witch and the Beast, which is sitting at 2%. Right now, we're at 56 votes. So some more people actually voted for this. Now, if you go on our Facebook community page, you feel free to vote. Because right now, our YouTube community page is definitely jumping up. Like, they wasted no time in voting. So far, Brave Bang Braver is sitting at the top. And it's like more people are high on that. And I have watched the first episode on all these anime. All of those, and I'm gonna rewatch it. So again, you got until next week. You got until next week to make that choice. All right. If you haven't voted yet, go ahead and vote. Also, you cannot vote for multiple ones at the same time. Like, you got one vote. So if you choose this anime, that's what you choose. You can't choose this one and this one and say, hey, I'm cool with either one of them. That's not how it works. You're gonna give you the power of choice, and that is one choice. And that's it. We're going to make this easy for you. You're going to have to make a decision. Sometimes it's hard to make a decision, but it is what it is. But again, yeah, that's our show for today. We will be back on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Myself and Boogie Blends, as we talk about all things of geek culture, especially over the past week. Now, for our hell divers out there, a new order has been issued. You have to fight the automatons. You have to eliminate. The automatons. And you got a truce. I think that's the name of the planet. But there's another planet sitting in front of it. We have to liberate that planet in order to get to that planet to liberate that planet. And trust me and believe, this ain't no cakewalk. You understand? This is not a cakewalk. You better have your right stratagems. You better make sure your teammates have the right stratagems and everything else in between. No dragging ass. Don't have nobody dragging ass out here. In Helldivers. We are here to do a mission. Oh, now we do have a question here. Now, what is Brave Bang Bravern is about? So it is a mecha anime, and if you are a fan of Gurren Lagann, it has some of those over-the-top elements in it. The animation is really crisp, and for some reason this mech can talk. And as you pilot this mech communicates with you. The mouth actually moves. So you know how in some mechs, the mouth, well, all of them really, the mouth doesn't move. You just see the face, nothing. But this, Bravern actually has a personality. So I only watched the first episode, and it was different. There was theme music being played, and man, it was like a traditional mecha anime, man. I was like, wow, it's okay. Low key, I hope BBB wins. I hope Triple B wins. Now, The Witch and the Beast is very good as well. Sin Duality Noir, I did watch that. Well, not in its entirety, but it's the first episode. And on Frieren, that's definitely a feel-good anime. But go ahead and get your vote on. All right? So, until next time, y'all. Peace.